Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Thursday, 22nd August 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Monkeypox is a growing concern for the W.H.O. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. WHO, World Health Organization, declares monkeypox a public health emergency. More in this ZNS News item.
The World Health Organization declaring the ongoing monkeypox outbreak in Africa a public health emergency of international concern. The WHO holding an emergency meeting to discuss the disease following concerns of a deadlier strain of the virus reaching 4 previously unaffected provinces in Africa. The strain, according to officials, had previously been contained in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The organization says a public health emergency of international concern is the highest level of alarm under international health law. Symptoms include skin rashes or lesions, a fever, headache, backache, swollen lymph nodes, chills, and exhaustion lasting between 2 to 4 weeks. At last report, the Bahamas had only one case of Mpox back in June 2023.
St. Lucia's Prime Minister Philip J. Pear has pledged $15 million to address issues at Owen King EU Hospital. This was the outcome of a recent meeting with St. Lucia's Medical and Dental Association, which highlighted serious issues at the island's main public health facility. Zane Romulus of the DBS News World reports.
2 weeks ago, Prime Minister Philip J. Pear and his cabinet of ministers held talks with the executive of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, the SLMDA. The organization has highlighted the need for urgent action to address the current state of affairs at the Owen King EU Hospital, including the lack of bed space, critical medicine, and equipment. Following this meeting, the Prime Minister has committed $15 million as an initial step towards addressing the problems at the public health facility.
We're going to be investing $10 million in the first instance, and you may be very happy to know that will come from the CIP program into the OKU Hospital. $10 million in the first place to pay debts that have been there before July 2021 to be paying these debts. And the Ministry of Finance is going to be injecting a further $5 million. So in terms of the OKU Hospital, we are going to be injecting $15 million. That doesn't mean that if you go to the hospital tomorrow, things will be better. We don't run hospitals.
According to the Prime Minister, many of the issues at the hospital and within the public health system are long-standing and predate his administration.
Do you know that there were suppliers that are owed from since pre-COVID? Yes. You know, we don't tell these stories because we're in government. The people elected us to run the country. So we don't go and carry all these stories about pre-COVID. People who use the respirator, we owe them. These are local suppliers. We owe the French government $2 million for overseas care. You know from what year? 2001. We owe the French government. And I want to thank them for being so patient with us. So what I'm going to do is I am going to try to put the health sector on a proper financial footing.
Prime Minister Pear has indicated that he will be making an announcement shortly on how the government intends to deal with the financial woes within the health sector. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
5 men are charged in Jamaica's largest ever cocaine bust valued at $12 billion. More in this TVJ News item.
The police have confirmed that 5 men have been charged in relation to the country's largest ever cocaine bust.
The drug, valued at over 12 billion Jamaican dollars, was seized at a property in Havendale, St. Andrew just over a week ago.
The head of the JCF's crime portfolio, Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey, detailed those charges.
The persons arrested are all from Kingston addresses. Those arrested are 57-year-old Clive Roy Davis, 58-year-old Colin Ricketts, 51-year-old George Sterling, 42-year-old Clayton Peart, and 72-year-old Juna Aldane.
He explained that the Firearms and Narcotics Division, along with the local, regional, and international partners, are pursuing other leads.
Since the start of 2024, the division's interdiction efforts have resulted in the seizure of 86 illegal firearms, 1,154 rounds of ammunition, 20,074 kilograms of ganja, approximately 67 kilograms of cocaine, with an estimated street value of just over $2 million. This figure does not include the most recent cocaine bust.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
And now for a regional roundup with Dacia Richards of HGP Nightly News out of Guyana.
Brazil's federal police formally accused the country's former justice minister, who served under ex-president Jair Bolsonaro, of acting to block voters in an opposition stronghold from reaching polling stations in the 2022 presidential election. The former minister, Anderson Torres, was accused of political violence alongside the ex-chief of Brazil's Federal Highway Police, Silvani Vasquez, and 4 other people. Local news outlet G1 reported the political violence charges earlier on Friday. President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva won the 2022 election in a tight runoff against far-right incumbent Bolsonaro. On the day of the runoff, there were widespread allegations that Brazil's Federal Highway Police illegally blocked roads in the country's poor northeast, a historic bastion of Lula support. The allegations sparked fears of potential voter suppression that could benefit Bolsonaro. The charges are the latest response to alleged efforts to impede the transfer of power both before and after the 2022 vote. After the election, both Torres and Vasquez were jailed for alleged roles in an attack on the Supreme Court, Congress, and the Presidential Palace by a right-wing crowd protesting the election results. Bolsonaro was banned from holding office until 2030 for spreading election falsehoods. Torres' legal defense said it will not comment until it gains access to the police decision. Vasquez's legal defense said it's not concerned by the accusation, adding that Vasquez's case does not fit in law that police are accusing him of breaking. While in Trinidad and Tobago, 4 more homicides were reported between Saturday night and Sunday morning. The deceased have been identified as Kevin Shrek Lucas, Shireen Salandi, David Best, 46, and Jamil James, 35. Lucas and Salandi were fatally shot at about 3 a.m. on Sunday along the Buru Highway in Sangre Grande. According to initial reports, Lucas and Solandi were said to be liming along the roadway when residents of the area heard a series of loud explosions. Upon investigating, they found both men lying on the roadway in pools of blood. The police and paramedics were notified, however, they both died shortly after. The scene was visited by a team of officers from the Eastern Division as well as the Homicide Bureau. Several spent shells were said to have been recovered. About 2 hours earlier, Best, who was a private hire driver, was fatally shot along Kangali Street in Valencia. 2 other persons, a 41-year-old man and a 30-year-old woman, were also injured in the incident. At about 12:05 a.m. on Sunday, a group of persons were said to be attending the wake of a woman who died recently along Kangali Street when 2 men dressed in what appeared to be uniforms of members of the TNT police service and the TNT regiment were observed standing along the roadway. Both men were masked and said to be holding firearms. The suspects opened fire on the group without warning, hitting the 3 individuals. Best was shot in the face and chest. The 41-year-old man was shot to his right shoulder, while the 30-year-old woman was shot in her left leg. The suspects were then observed running behind a nearby property and onto a track that leads to Valencia Bypass Road. The police and paramedics were notified, and a team of officers from the Eastern Division and the Homicide Bureau responded. 12 spent 9mm shells were found on the scene of the shooting. Police currently have no motive for this incident. James of Chandy Lane in San Juan was fatally shot at about 6:30 p.m. on Saturday in Morvant. Police were told that residents of Westmore Road in 2nd Caledonia heard gunshots, and upon investigating, they observed a Hyundai Tucson parked nearby. It appeared to have been shot up, and both left passenger doors were open. No one was in the vehicle at the time. The police were notified, and officers from the Northeastern Division Task Force responded. James' bullet-riddled body was found hidden in some bushes near the roadway. He had been shot in the head and chest. 6 spent 9mm shells as well as 2 live rounds of 9mm ammunition were found at the scene, police said. A team of officers led by ASP Calendar from the Northeastern Division as well as the Homicide Bureau responded. WPC Billy is continuing inquiries. While police do not have an official motive for the incident, based on initial intelligence, the killing has been classed as gang-related. Finally, news from Venezuela. An oil spill which appeared to originate from Venezuela's El Palito refinery several days ago has contaminated a bay off the country's north-central coast in the Caribbean Sea. Biologist Eduardo Klein posted satellite images on X that he said showed an oil slick of about 225 square kilometers, 87 square miles in the Gulf Triste, and completely covering Morocoy National Park, known for beaches lined with palm trees and mangroves. There was no immediate comment from the state-owned company Petróleos de Venezuela, PDVSA, or the oil ministry. The El Palito refinery, with a capacity to process 146,000 barrels of crude oil per day, is Venezuela's smallest oil refining complex and located in the Puerto Cabello municipality on the coast of the central state of Carabobo.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.